Helen Yaffe is a lecturer in economic and social history at the University of Glasgow and joins us live now via Skype. Thank you very much for speaking to us. And so then just picking up on some of the points that our correspondent Lucia was making there from Havana, how difficult is it going to be for Diaz-Canel to consolidate his power when his predecessor, Raul Castro, continues to oversee the major decisions?
I think it's important to point out that Cuba doesn't actually have a sort of presidential system like the United States. So the president of Cuba is not elected directly by the population. He is actually the president of the Council of State, which is elected through the National Assembly, the equivalent of a parliament. So formally, at least, the leadership in Cuba is more collective. The power that the president of the Council of State in Cuba has is even less as an individual than the prime minister in Britain, for example, in terms of decisions they can make. The other point to point out is that Miguel Diaz-Canel will be taking over the current program of economic and social reforms that's underway in Cuba and has been implemented since 2011. And so essentially his job is to continue to oversee that process.
So what then will his biggest challenge be? What does he need to deliver to the Cuban people?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest challenge is in Cuba today is economic. There's many angles. One of the most urgent needs is the need to unify the two currencies that operate alongside each other in Cuba. The Cuban national pesos and the convertible pesos. That is a major challenge. It's an extraordinarily complex task, problem to try and solve. How they will be able to unify the currencies while at the same time doing so without being at the detriment of anyone who is holding Cuban convertible pesos in their deposits. So raising the standard of living for all Cubans, not allowing the inequality to grow more than it has, the introduction of a private sector, and obviously with the role of remittances, there's been a growth in inequality. So trying to sort of raise people up at the bottom, the efficiency in state enterprises, productivity, inviting more foreign investment. Those are all challenges which he will face, but they're not new challenges. He's inheriting them from Raul.
Thanks very much for putting it all into perspective for us. Appreciate your analysis from Glasgow. Helen Yaffe joining us there.
Thank you.
Well, now